Okay. Yeah. Sorry about the last video. There was some mistakes. I'd like to just try it again. There was a lot of awkwardness and things. Okay, we're gonna keep how Superman and Lex would fit well in the Marvel universe. Okay, we're gonna start. Clark Kent was born in Kansas, or raised in Kansas by Martha and Jonathan Kent. Because of his mutation, he sometimes feels alien and different than the other kids in Smallville, but they still like Clark for Clark, and he's on well with them mostly. When Clark gets older, he starts to develop powers. He struggles to control them. With his super strength, he keeps accidentally breaking things. With his, and maybe his, he destroys the house in his sleep and stuff. One day, in the middle of the night, he starts levitating out of bed, and he's panicking. Mom, I can't get down. Help! And they try and pull him down with rope, but he's too strong. Eventually, he falls back down to bed. So, because of this, Professor X offers to take him in and teach him how to control his powers so he won't be a danger to himself and people around him. They reluctantly accept, but Clark, he goes there when he's not at school, like mostly in the summer and times off, when his friends will be on vacation anyway. When he goes to X-Men school, he feels different than the other kids left out because he's more powerful. Some of them are actually scared of him. Like, he's an Omega level mutant and most of them aren't, so the power gap is there. He makes friends with the basically losers and the ones people there don't like as well, like Infectious Last. We're bringing her over because she's cool, and that mutant whose name I don't remember, whose only power is he can explode once and die. He makes friends with lesser characters like that. And people are like, dude, you're the most powerful guy here. Why are you friends with them? Like, they're nice. I get on with them. They're cool. Anyway, he goes and he's still in. Anyway, he goes back to Smallville. Mostly, he tells some of the guys there he's a mutant, and none of them see him as any different. They don't care. They still see him as Clark, and they agree to promise to keep a secret, because he's one of them. They don't see him any different. Clark moves to Metropolis to become a journalist. Lex warns him about mutants and how dangerous they are. He also fears Skrulls and things because they're like mutants and Skrulls. You can't tell them apart from real people because they could be hiding among us. So Superman and Lex move to Metropolis. Superman becomes a reporter at the Daily Planet. Lex opens a business. He makes most of his money trying to combat mutants and trying to combat aliens. He builds devices like his main, like one thing he really should do and Maple Marvel should build is a device to help detect Skrulls and Mystique, because that would be something people would be afraid of because they could never tell if one of their loved ones is secretly one of them in the skies. So he rallies public meetings warning people about how dangerous mutants are, and he gives examples of like all of them attacking people in the like Magneto and Apocalypse, etc. But then one day a train's about to crash. It was hacked by some villain, or maybe just came off in the Royals, and Clark changed into his outfit he got as the X-Men, but he modified it to look more friendly and down to earth. No, he modified it to look like his comic costume. He grabs the train and stops it from crashing with his bare hands and saves all the people on board, and they all clap. And that makes Lex goes against everything Lex just said, and now he's annoyed. He's worried. He's worried about alien Clark aliens because Superman is aliens are better than people and surpassing them. So that could easily translate to how he feels about mutants. He's worried because he views himself as like the smartest man on Earth, the pinnacle of it. But mutants are Homo supreme, and then Mr. Immortal is Homo superior. He doesn't view anyone as his superior. He views himself as the pinnacle, whereas Superman views everyone as his equal. So that's why they're enemies, obviously. Toyman builds the world's first Sentinel under Lex. He controls Cadmus, and in this case, the Weapon X program. Lex runs for politics and stuff on an anti-mutant platform, and it's pretty popular. Jimmy Olsen writes a blog and he defends mutants. He doesn't agree with these. Well, he thinks they deserve human rights because they're human, I guess. Clark is afraid to tell people at work that he's a mutant, so he keeps hidden disguised. How did he react to other characters? Okay, Doctor Doom, Mr. Fantastic, and Iron Man would be pretty close to Lex in terms of intelligence, or some you might argue even above him. So I could totally imagine Iron Man and Lex being enemies, because he could be like Iron Man can view Lex as the old version of himself before he had the revelation to stop making weapons and things, because Lex is still doing everything Tony used to do. So he could be like his mirror version. And Lex could see Tony as like a failure version of himself because Tony's an alcoholic and things, and Lex would look at him and see weakness and whatever. Oh. Yeah?